What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host, Alex Wilson. And today, during the bye week, things are getting crazy. Giants fans are unhappy. Everybody's upset. So what do we want to do, Alex? We want to bring in a little bit of positivity, shine some light on the great New York Giants rookie draft class, and just discuss how great it's been. You're seeing rookies playing 99% of snaps. You're seeing rookies leading the league in certain categories. It's been an excellent 2024 rookie draft class for the New York Giants. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of react to it, recap the season so far for all of the New York Giants draft picks, and even some of the undrafted free agents. Don't forget about Elijah Chapman, who has given us some pretty quality snaps throughout the course of the season. But obviously, it's a lost season. 2-8, the Giants aren't making the playoffs. The season is toasted. However, we can look ahead to the future with a little bit of positivity and a little bit of hope because of this rookie draft class. So that's what we're going to go ahead and discuss. But before we do so, make sure to leave a like if you enjoy. And also, shout out to our sponsor, BetUs. Alex, how are you doing today, my friend? And how are you feeling about the Giants rookie draft class during the bye week?
Doing pretty good. I mean, listen, we heard the Joe Schoen press conference. We discussed it yesterday, and one of the things he highlighted as a positive and an optimistic perspective is, well, the rookie draft class has been fantastic. Now, there's another conversation to have that you have 5 players, rookies, starting on this team, and that's kind of an indication of a lack of depth, lack of starting talent. You let Saquon go, you let McKinney go, and you're just turning things over, and you're asking rookies to step into big roles and compete and play well. Fortunately for the Giants, the most improbable thing happened. Like, draft picks is all a crapshoot, right? A lot of it's luck mixed in with evaluations and projections. So the Giants got extraordinarily lucky that Andrew Phillips was a starter on day one, that Tyler Nubin's been a starter on day one and played 99% of snaps. He played more snaps than any rookie this season. Tyrone Tracy has won the starting running back job. Malik Nabers is a WR1. Theo Johnson is developing nicely, and we're seeing progress there. So, like, you're seeing a very unprecedented level of luck right now mixed in with projections. And I do think that from the perspective of Joe Schoen, like, and his job security, that may have saved his job. I genuinely believe if this rookie class had been what it looked like the last 2 rookie classes, inconsistent, volatile, injury prone at times, like not really where it should be, if they would have replicated those 2 classes, this would be the worst roster in football, and it wouldn't even be remotely close. I can say that with confidence. The fact that they hit on this draft class, the fact that they stepped in and they're getting immediate value from all these guys, it makes the wide receiver position look excellent. Or not, I wouldn't say excellent. I think that's a very dramatic way of saying it, more so competent. They've made the running room look competent. The loss of Saquon Barkley is much dampened because of Tyrone Tracy's upside and his abilities he's shown so far this year. Slot corner, there was nobody there, guys. Like, keep in mind, if Andrew Phillips was bad and had a bad rookie season, this secondary would be even worse than it already is, right? Like, the fact that he's stepped up and played this well, especially against the run, is such good luck for the Giants and such good projection there. And then, of course, you have other position groups like tight end, and they try to replace Daniel Bellinger. Johnson was bad first half of the year. He's been better lately. And then you have other players as well, like Tyler Nubin. Obviously, the loss from McKinney is horrible. Like, McKinney is going to be the best safety in football this year by most accounts, by most projections and metrics. And Nubin's a average safety, right? Like, teams haven't had to pass against us. Our run defense is bad. I do think that for the most part, this Giants team, a lot of flaws. This rookie class has been really, really good. But let's start with Nabers here. I mean, his efficiency has gone down quite significantly because Daniel Jones can't get on the football, can't throw the ball, can't operate a competent offense. Half the playbook is torn to shreds because they can't use these plays. He won't throw the football. He can't get through his progressions. He can't throw with anticipation. The list goes on. You know who suffers the most from that? Malik Nabers, because in the second half of games, when the Giants literally can't move the ball, they just start forcing it to Nabers no matter what. How many times, Anthony, over the last couple weeks, have we seen Nabers go the first half with 1 or 2 receptions or even targets, and in the second half, 7 or 8 receptions?
It's inexcusable that he doesn't get the ball in the first half.
And the reason they're doing that is because they want to try to create a balanced offense, and then they realize that they can't because Daniel Jones cannot get to his second reads. He cannot actually make the throws. He cannot execute the plays. So instead, they just they flip to the pages of the playbook that every single play is hyper-focused on Daniel Jones's first read. And that is all Malik Nabers. And they just keep using the plays that Nabers, and it's unsustainable to lean on a player like that with volume. You know what I mean? It's unsustainable. So until the Giants have a competent offense, a balanced offense where they can get the ball to their second reads, third reads, open up the screen game, run the football effectively, attack the seams of their tight ends, you're going to see an offense that tries to establish itself in the first half, fails miserably, aside from Tracy, and then has to lean on Nabers as the one-read option. They're just hot-reading Nabers every single play. It's unsustainable. We're seeing the limitations of Daniel Jones, and it's hurting Nabers' efficiency because he can't play in a sustainable, balanced offense. He has to play in an offense that either does not look at him at all or looks at him only, and that is not how an offense is supposed to run. So I do think that'll be a big kind of narrative that they address, and a big problem they address with drafting a young rookie quarterback next year that can spread the ball out more effectively and run a more balanced offense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I loved the force feeding of Malik Nabers in the early portion of the season because we got to see some really awesome highlight plays, touchdowns, and exciting catches down the sideline when he mossed that one Cleveland Browns defender. It was a lot of fun. It was very exciting to watch that stuff. However, it wasn't sustainable. We said it at the time, Alex. We said that this kind of an offense is not sustainable, and the Giants would need to pivot at some point and become more balanced. They've done that, but unfortunately, feels like they're imbalanced once again, and Nabers is now not getting the ball enough, at least in the first half of games. So, but either way, Malik Nabers, if I had to grade that pick, A+. He's been excellent. He's going to be a number one wide receiver for the Giants for a very long time. No doubt in my mind. I think he was arguably the most talented player in the NFL draft class, and I'm very excited about his future as the construction continues to hit home. So before we continue our discussion, Alex, on the New York Giants rookie draft class, I want to pull up BetUs and discuss one line that I really like from our sponsor, BetUs. If you're looking at it, Alex, I'm bringing the good luck to LA right now. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm going to the Chargers game on Sunday night. I'm taking the Chargers money line versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals are basically the immovable force, or the unstoppable force hitting the immovable object today or on Sunday versus the Chargers. The Chargers defense has been lights out, but so has the Bengals offense. But ultimately, I think at home, Los Angeles Chargers will take the win. I'm going to take the Chargers money line minus 125 on this bet. Sprinkle a little $10 on it. Hopefully win some money. So guys, check out BetUS. Awesome platform, fastest payouts in the industry. Use code YouTube150 for 150% deposit match up to $2,000. That's awesome stuff right there from our partners, BetUS. So anyway, back to the New York Giants, Alex. I love something that you said about second-round pick Tyler Nubin. He's been great. He's been an awesome rookie safety. For as far as rookie safety goes, it doesn't get much better than that. He's leading all rookies in tackles. He's been on the field for 99% of snaps. But that's the flaw. The fact that the rookie is on the field for 99% of snaps is an issue. Tells me that the Giants don't have enough depth in their secondary. Even though Nubin has been great, they are missing something on the back end of their defense. However, they also have Drew Phillips, who's been playing great. And I think, Alex, if the Giants were a better football team, Drew Phillips would be in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He has been that good this season. Tackles for loss, pass breakups, making plays against the run, making plays against the pass. He's been tremendous. When you're looking at those two young pieces in the secondary, Nubin and Phillips, Alex, what does it mean for the Giants to have hit, hopefully, and, we can always have regression, but hopefully to have hit on two pieces in the secondary in this year's draft class?
I mean, listen, these two young guys, they've been really, really solid. And I think, number one, they've been good against the run. It's the interior defensive line when Dexter Lawrence is not on the field. Even when he is on the field, they don't have a secondary guy. And really, if you watched what happened to us this past week against Carolina, you know what they did? They just ran outside. They ran outside zone. They literally did not run down the middle of the field. They ran outside on the edge rushers. Azeez Ojulari has had a tremendously hard time stopping the run. That's always been his biggest flaw. Brian Burns, he's banged up. He's nursing a really tough hamstring injury. They know, he had a good game in pass rush, but they ran his way. They took him out of the game. And look, Chuba Hubbard really put us in a tough spot. And I think that, when you look at the run defense of this team, the safeties in the corners, they can't do much when the guys up front aren't winning their battles. They're not closing the gaps in the running lane. So, I think Nubin's been solid in run defense. His tackling has been really, really good. His efficiency there, hasn't missed many tackles. And Andrew Phillips, same thing with him. Really good in run defense, hasn't missed many tackles, but it's also his coverage that has been equally as impressive. So looking at the future of this team, yes, they saved like $17 million a year by letting McKinney walk. Yes, they replaced a slot cornerback position. By the way, finding good nickel corners is extremely difficult in the NFL. We tried to move Adoree Jackson there last year, and he literally looked lost. Wasn't even competent. So they quickly moved to Darnay Holmes, who is not competent either. And I think Drew Phillips stepping in, being a boundary option in Kentucky, and then stepping in as a nickel corner in the NFL and immediately having success. Very, very, very rare that happens. Very lucky the Giants were able to find a talent and projected it the way they did. But they got to be doing stuff like this every year. This can't be a once in a blue moon. The Giants have to draft well right now. There is no more excuses left. If they don't have another really good draft class this upcoming year, it's going to set us back significantly. If you miss on the quarterback, it's going to set us back significantly. If you miss on the second, third, fourth rounders, it's going to be tough to bounce back from. This team is clearly still building the foundation of this roster. We need another a young offensive lineman, in my opinion, a guy that they can project develop with Carmen Priscillo. That's kind of how I foresee where they will go. I don't think they're going to spend a lot of money, but maybe they draft someone to be a nice project in the trenches in the second or third round. We could also use another receiver. I would take a receiver in the second round if they don't want to go offensive lineman. Anthony, you're a big proponent of taking receivers. I think they lose Darius Slayton. I like Wandale, obviously love Nabers, but we need another pass catcher, especially if you're going to usher in a young rookie quarterback like a Sanders or a Ward. You need a strong receiving core. You need a good offensive line. Now you have money to spend. You have draft capital because the Giants are bad enough. Their draft pick will hopefully put them in a spot where they can just take one of these quarterbacks and not have to give up future assets. That's the best case scenario for what it's worth, Anthony, that this team is in a position where we can just take the quarterback because listen, if you're drafting number 2 and the Jaguars are number 1 and they want to trade out and another team wants to go up and get their guy, the Giants are going to have to move up. They don't have a choice. And what it's going to cost you to move from 2 to 1 is your second round pick. You know what I mean? That's what it's going to cost you most likely. It's going to cost you a second round pick that year. So if you're the Giants, you need to have the top pick because you can't afford to lose out on the quarterback that you want in a very, very slim, weaker quarterback class. You need to get the guy that you have conviction in. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. So that second round pick is so valuable because you can find a good receiving talent or a good talent wherever you need some help. Because we really need help everywhere. So you could really just go BPA and address one of our bigger needs. To be quite honest with you, that's how bad this roster is, in my opinion. You could literally just go BPA and you address a big need. That's all the Giants have to do. So with that being said, I think that next year's draft class will be so important. They have to hit again. You have plugged a couple positions. You have a free safety. You got a cornerback. You got a nickel corner. You got a running back. You got a receiver. You have a tight end. Now you just got to keep building on those things. You got to keep making progress. But I do think having those 2 young secondary pieces on rookie contracts is a very nice bonus for the future. Now we just got to get the most out of Deonte Banks and probably spend a bit of money in free agency on a veteran quarterback because this team needs some veteran leadership in that secondary badly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that the flexibility of having 2 great young players on rookie contracts in the secondary allows you to open yourself up and actually spend in the secondary as well. You can add more talent, go into free agency, and it doesn't need to be a cornerback, Alex. We talk a lot about how the Giants need a CB1. They do. They should go out there and sign a cornerback in free agency, but I also wouldn't mind them spending big at the safety position. I don't know if Jason Pinnock is going to get extended. He's going to be a free agent this offseason. Are the Giants going to have to draft another safety, or are they going to go out there and find the quality starter, high-level starter in free agency? That's totally possible as well. I know Javon Holland of the Miami Dolphins is going to be a free agent. He's very unlikely to re-sign with Miami, and he's been somebody who's been linked to the Giants from some early free agency projections. That could be an intriguing signing. So I think that the Giants have a lot of work to do on this roster, as you pointed out, Alex, but having those young players playing at a high level on rookie contracts, it allows you to reinforce those same positions through free agency and stack talent, and that ultimately allows you to do the BPA strategy in the draft, which is what the Giants should always be doing. Best player available. This past draft was very needs-based drafting, and it needed to be because they had some huge holes on their roster, but I'm hoping that this upcoming offseason the Giants actually focus on adding talent across the board in free agency so that they can go BPA in the draft, outside of obviously taking the quarterback in the first round, which is inevitable and completely necessary. But yeah, I think you make a great point. The Giants are setting themselves up to have some free agency flexibility, which is very important. Good drafting, building through the draft, that allows you to splurge on certain signings in free agency. And if Deonte Banks can turn it around and the Giants can have 3 young players on rookie contracts in the secondary, man, that's even better. That would be tremendous. Now, one free agency signing that the Giants made this offseason, Alex, was Devin Singletary. That was one of their big splash signings. Through 5 weeks of the season, he pretty much lost his starting job. Tyrone Tracy Jr. has taken it over. That's not really a knock on Devin Singletary, though, because he was playing some good football during the early portion of the season. Tyrone Tracy Jr. just already is better. So when you're looking at this backfield, Alex, do you think that there's more work that needs to be done, or do you feel like the Giants actually solidified RB1 with Tyrone Tracy Jr. in the 5th round?
I think they absolutely solidified. I called this months ago. I was like, they should be giving him 50-50 reps. Now he has more like 80-20 reps. He is an instant impact player. He is a threat, and he needs experience. I think he needs more experience. I mean, he's already showing like he looks like he has plenty already. But seeing the lanes, getting in chemistry, building more chemistry with the offensive line, being out there with his teammates, being out there and rebounding from a tough fumble last week, like these are all things that rookies have to experience and have to learn from and bounce back from. For me, like, he's young. He doesn't have that many miles on his legs. He's a good underrated receiver that they have not exposed just yet. They haven't used him in the passing game that much. He's a good pass protector from the running back position when they need him to be. Like, his patience, he gives me like Le'Veon Bell vibes with his patience. He waits, but then he's able to make those one cuts and get through the gap and explode. I really like his run style. I think that he's able to use his blockers very, very efficiently, which is kind of what that Le'Veon Bell-esque mentality looks like. He kind of hides behind his blockers. He waits for the right time, and he puts his foot in the ground, then he changes direction, and he can get to 0 to 60 really fast. So, yeah, to me, I think he should be starting. I think he is starting. I think Devin Singletary, good complementary running back, had an injury here and there, had a couple fumbles early on in the season, which really put him on the back burner. Tyrone Tracy stepped up, dominated, and didn't let go of the job. And, that's what you want from young players, to do exactly what he did. So, yeah, he's my starter, no doubt about it. And for an extremely cheap cost for the next 3 seasons after this one. So you're getting ridiculous value from a player like Tracy. They need to be leaning on him long term. Now, I know Singletary is on really a 2-year deal with the guarantees. So, I do think that he will be here. He'll be that guy that kind of like, if anything happens to Tracy, they have a starting running back capable of stepping in and producing if they need him to. So they have a fine situation, very, very cheap situation at running back. And I think Tracy is the bell cow now for the most part.
Yeah, and I think he's earned it. I think he absolutely should be. And in the offseason, if they want to add any more talent to their backfield, I say complementary pieces to Tyrone Tracy. The only thing that Tyrone Tracy, in my opinion, Alex, needs to work on is the ball security, and Devin Singletary does as well. One thing that we took for granted, or at least many fans probably did when Saquon Barkley was here, the guy never fumbled. He had 3 fumbles in 6 years with the New York Giants. Just tremendous. The Giants have felt the impact of Saquon Barkley's loss through the fumbles, in my opinion. Seeing Singletary cough up the ball, seeing Tracy cough up the ball, it's hard not to just remember the Giants never had that problem under Saquon Barkley. But, I think that's absolutely correctable. It's totally something that can be fixed. Giants fans know Tiki Barber had that problem early in his career, and he fixed it real quick. And honestly, Tiki Barber, Tyrone Tracy, that's a pretty decent comparison. That's pretty similar play style, I think. So, yeah, if the Giants found their next Tiki Barber and Tyrone Tracy, I mean, how much happier can you be? Excellent selection there in the 5th round, one of the steals of the 2024 NFL Draft. And, Alex, we debate sometimes. You're a huge fan of Theo Johnson. I like Theo Johnson. I think he's going to be good one day, but right now I don't think he's all that great. I think he has his struggles, but he is getting better. Where do you think he is going to be by the end of the season, though? As the Giants continue to open up their passing attack, hopefully. Sounds like a quarterback change is on the horizon, whether it's happening this week or in 5 weeks from now, it'll happen. How do you think that opens things up? How do you think that gets Theo Johnson more involved? And, there's been some debate on social media. Should Theo Johnson be playing more than Daniel Bellinger, or should Daniel Bellinger be the starter? Where do you stand on that? Because I'm curious. I know that you do really like Theo Johnson, but I know you like him for his potential. What about him right now? Do you think that he is the better player than Daniel Bellinger currently?
I think that they're just different. Like Daniel Bellinger's a slower, traditional tight end. Like he can block in the run game. Like he can be an outlet security blanket. He's not a refined route runner. Like he's capped. Like this is the kind of, you said potential, I think is a good word to put it. Daniel Bellinger's upside is capped. by his lack of athleticism. Theo Johnson's potential is uncapped because of his athleticism. When he had one of the best 40-yard dash times of any tight end in the draft class, maybe the best. His measurements are off the charts. He's fast. I mean, if he's a couple drops every now and then, but if he cleans that up, dude's gonna be dangerous as a receiver, like really, really dangerous. And he's 6'6", like a massive guy, and he's getting better as a blocker. Like we're seeing improvement, and that's all you can hope for from the tight end position. Like, the Giants are taking shots in the mid rounds on tight ends every year. Like 2 consecutive years, they've taken a shot on a tight end. Bellinger first, and then of course Theo Johnson now. So they're taking shots because they think that's the sweet spot to find a very underrated, undervalued tight end in the draft. And Bellinger was capped because of his athletic profile. Johnson's the opposite. He's uncapped because of it. So I do think you keep giving him the reps, you keep letting him tap into that potential, and you might just find yourself with a really good tight end. I think they gave Bellinger plenty of time. They just didn't see him take the big steps forward they wanted to with the time they gave him. Theo Johnson has taken massive steps forward over the course of 10 games, and that's what they wanted to see. And I think that they're continuing to see that. If you get a quarterback that can take the shots, hit him on the seam routes, get more involved. Like, he's playing 44% of his snaps as a jumbo slot option right now. Like, they're getting him involved in the passing game. And I think that's really, really cool. And a better quarterback will exploit that, will make the most of that opportunity to have a tight end like that who can beat linebackers in coverage, who can beat slot cornerbacks in coverage. So, I do think that Johnson's upside is way, 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 way more. And that is why they'll continue to roll with him. Am I a big fan of his? I wouldn't say I'm a big fan, but I do think that I believe he can be a very solid NFL player. And I think that they should keep investing in that because that upside is legitimate. And I think that, it would be malpractice not to see what we can get over the rest of the season.
Absolutely, they should continue to play Theo Johnson a hefty dosage of snaps. I think that his potential in year 2 of his career is great, and I think that he could be a very good player for the Giants. But we'll see who they draft on top of him, and if they do take another shot at tight end, and maybe that player is better. Alex, due to the intense noise in the background, I'm going to let you take us out of here. I know that the investment in Wilson Coin was brought up in the comment section recently, and how many times is Alex going to do the intro and the outro from here on out? Well, prime opportunity, Alex. I'll let you take us home.
Well, absolutely, my friends. I appreciate you giving me the blessing to tune us out from this Fireside Giants episode. Hope you guys had a great time enjoying talking about the rookies. Just some optimism. I know it's been a tough couple of weeks, really negative and down. We wanted to bring a little bit of optimism. I know I had my pessimistic takes in this one. I mean, it's hard not to be a little bit negative with this team at the moment, but I appreciate you guys tuning into Fireside Giants. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Perfect.